Number 6, simulation theory. We're all living in the Matrix. In 2010, theoretical physicist Sylvester James Gates was working deep inside the mathematics of string theory, the fundamental framework physicists use to describe how every particle and force in reality works. When he discovered buried deep in the equations was a specific type of error-correcting computer-like code, the same self-correcting binary error code that makes your browser work, that stops data from corrupting when you stream a video or visit a website, was sitting inside the fundamental equations of physics. It's like a built-in algorithmic autocorrection system, and this system is wrapped around and built as the foundation of our entire reality. So why are error-correcting codes in the equations describing the fundamental building blocks for all matter in the universe? Nobody has an answer. Even Elon Musk have publicly said that we are more likely in a simulation than not. And undeniably, nobody can confidentially disprove the logic of it. If a civilization ever becomes advanced enough to run a simulated universe, they would probably run many of them. Without any constraints or limitations, they'd probably simulate infinite universes, which means simulated universes would significantly outnumber real ones. So statistically, the odds of being in the real one moves closer and closer to zero. The code James found is theoretically implying we are all built from mathematical computations, abiding by the algorithmic rules of physics. I guess we are all Neos. Number 5, Boltzmann brain hypothesis, from nothing to everything. In the 1890s, physicist Ludwig Boltzmann realized that thermodynamics, the science of energy and disorder, is not deterministic, meaning it is not absolute, and that given infinite time, random quantum fluctuations in a high entropy universe could potentially assemble literally anything, including a fully conscious brain, complete with fabricated memories, emotions, and the vivid sensation of having lived an entire life that pops into existence from pure randomness for a fraction of a second, then dissolves back into nothing. It is similar to the thought experiment that given a monkey a typewriter and infinite time, it will eventually produce a book word for word that already exists. In an infinite universe with infinite time, these Boltzmann brains would statistically outnumber every brain that evolved naturally, which means based off probability, you are far more likely to be a random quantum accident than a real person with a real history. In December 2025, researchers at the Santa Fe Institute published a formal analysis confirming this problem has never been resolved. Most arguments against it contain circular reasoning. It cannot be disproved because every piece of evidence you reach for to push back on it is a memory. And memories are exactly what the hypothesis says were fabricated. Everything you have ever experienced, every person you have ever known, could be a statistical hallucination that appeared out of nothing. Scientists have no experiment that can distinguish a real brain from a Boltzmann one. So we genuinely don't know if we are truly real. Number 4, the holographic principle, reality is a projection. In the 1970s, while studying black holes, Stephen Hawking and Jacob Bekenstein discovered that the amount of information a black hole can hold is not determined by its volume or its interior space. It is determined by its surface area, which theoretically should be impossible. In 3 dimensions, capacity should scale with interior volume, the same way a bigger room holds more furniture. Then in 1997, physicist Juan Maldacena proved mathematically that a 3-dimensional universe with gravity is exactly equivalent to a 2-dimensional universe without gravity encoded on its boundary, meaning our entire 3-dimensional reality, every room you have ever stood in, every object you have ever touched, could be the projection of 2-dimensional information encoded on a flat surface at the edge of the observable universe, like a hologram on a credit card that casts an image appearing 3-dimensional. Scientists cannot disprove this because the mathematics is internally consistent and experimentally supported in specific contexts. A 2025 Nature Index study confirmed the holographic principle aligns with quantum error correction models, meaning our best theories of information and our best theories of space-time point toward the same underlying structure. The ground under your feet feels real because it is real within the projection, but whether there is a two-dimensional surface encoding all of this is a question no instrument nor technology we currently have can reach. So maybe the aliens in the higher dimensional space is observing us as two-dimensional. Number 3, mirror world theory, the invisible universe right next to ours. Dark matter makes up about 80% of all matter in the universe. We know it exists because galaxies would fly apart without it. The gravity we can see is simply not enough to hold them together. But in decades of searching, even with our technological advancements, no instrument has ever directly detected a single dark matter particle. In 2025, physicist Stefano Profumo at UC Santa Cruz published findings proposing a complete parallel sector of matter, a mirror world with its own dark quarks, dark gluons, and a dark version of the strong nuclear force binding them into heavy particles called dark baryons. In the early universe, these dark baryons were so dense they collapsed under their own gravity into tiny, stable black hole like objects, completely invisible to every particle detector, occupying the same space as ours, and can only interact through gravity. Those invisible remnants, if produced in sufficient quantity, could account for all the dark matter observed today. What makes this impossible to dismiss is that every instrument pointed at the sky looking for dark matter could potentially be looking straight through a mirror world without recognizing it, because the only signal crossing between the two sectors is gravity, and gravity looks the same regardless of its source. The gravitational anomalies holding every galaxy together could be the weight of an entire parallel universe sitting right beside ours, completely invisible to everything except the one force that holds reality together. And the only way we'll ever know is if we fully understand dark matter. Number 2, the Ekpyrotic universe theory, the alternative beginning. The Big Bang is taught as the beginning of everything. But what came before? There's a hole in the history of our universe, but we blindly assume nothing because time did not exist yet. But in 2001, physicists Paul Steinhardt and Neil Turok proposed the Ekpyrotic model. Using string theory, our universe we live in is a three-dimensional membrane floating in a higher dimensional space. Another membrane exists parallel to ours, separated by a gap smaller than an atom. They attract each other gravitationally, so they drift closer until they eventually collide. And when they do, the collision releases an enormous burst of energy, similarly to the Big Bang. And our universe, with all its matter, structure, stars, and galaxies, would be the echo of that collision. So this alternative beginning is the aftershock of two membranes touching. Cosmological analyses confirm the Ekpyrotic model remains fully consistent with the cosmic microwave background data, the detailed map of radiation left over from the early universe. It fits all the same data as the standard Big Bang model, and scientists cannot currently distinguish between them. But the cyclic implies that after the collision, the membranes separate, expand, cool, grow dark, and gravity slowly pulls them back together again, which means the entire history of the universe theoretically could have began another way. Number 1, the multiverse theory, any and every possibility all at once. In 1957, physicist Hugh Everett proposed a solution to one of quantum mechanics' most uncomfortable problems. Particles exist in multiple states simultaneously until observed. The standard explanation was that observation forces a collapse into one definite state. Everett wondered, what if nothing collapses? What if the universe simply splits? One branch where the particle went left, one where it went right, both equally real, diverging forever. Every quantum event, and quantum events are occurring inside your body trillions of times per second, branches the universe into a new reality. The number of parallel universes this produces is infinite and growing with every passing second. Modern inflation theory arrived independently at the same structure. When cosmic inflation stops in one region of space, it continues in others, spawning separate universes with entirely different physical constants forever. Two completely separate branches of physics pointing at the same answer. A 2025 analysis confirmed the many worlds interpretation is fully consistent with all known observational data and cannot be ruled out. There is no experiment that can reach across branches to test it. But if it is true, it means every version of your life that could have gone differently is playing out somewhere. The version of you that made the other choice said the thing you held back stayed or left or tried or quit. All equally real, all diverging from this moment forward. Scientists cannot tell you this is false, nor can they tell you it is true. The probability that it is impossible is not 100%. So theoretically, we are continuously spawning new universes. All we can do is try to make the best decisions for the best outcome in this timeline. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to see more.